Mark your calendar for May 21st through the 23rd for the Southern Republican Leadership Conference in Oklahoma City. K98 Talk's Rick Robinson and Grouchy from the Conservative Curmudgeon Radio Show will be there to cover each day's events. Join them at the conference to hear keynote Republican speakers. Now, here's Oklahoma Governor Mary Fallin.
On behalf of the Oklahoma Republican Party and the entire Southern Republican Leadership Conference Committee, welcome to Oklahoma City, ranked by the National Geographic as one of the must-see places in the world in 2015. I'm Oklahoma Governor Mary Fallin, and the road to win back the White House begins in Oklahoma City with a Southern Republican Leadership Conference. Your participation in this historic conference is crucial to the conservative cause and energizing America. The 2016 presidential election promises to be the most important election in our lifetime, and the choices that we make in the next 2 years will define America for the next generation. We're excited to host you in Oklahoma as we begin our shared Republican journey towards capturing the White House and getting this country back on track.
Don't miss this opportunity to hear well-known leaders from the Republican Party as they discuss the upcoming presidential race for 2016. And where they stand on issues facing America today. It starts May 21st and runs through the 23rd. To register, go online to okgop.com or contact the Oklahoma Republican Party. Seats are going fast, so register today. K98Talk.com, a leader in Internet radio. So grab your seatbelts and take the ride of your life on K98Talk.com.
We will keep this promise to the American people. If you like your doctor, you will be able to keep your doctor, period. If you like your health care plan, you will be able to keep your health care plan. Period.
This is the most transparent administration in history. Not even a smidgen of corruption.
Fact is, we had 4 dead Americans. What difference at this point does it make?
If you got a business, you didn't build that.
Oh, welcome to the face. Welcome to the face of the new democracy. Don't expect us to admit a mistake. We're paying off election debts to those on the take.
It's time to hear the truth about America's biggest challenges. You're listening to America Off the Rails with your host, Rick Robinson.
Okay, well, apparently I'm going to need to edit about 2 minutes of dead air. Do apologize. This is one of the things that's been driving me a little crazy is we do have lots of moving parts around here, and to do certain things a certain way, I have to make sure that certain switches are flipped and buttons are pressed, and I missed one. So, happy Monday all over again. Okay, so we're going to pretend that I wasn't talking to myself for the last 2 minutes, so we're going to backtrack for just a second. Okay, so it is May the 4th, so one of my favorite holidays, unofficially, is this one. Of course, you know, Christmas, always a big deal. Easter, love that holiday. Thanksgiving, and then my birthday, and then this one. I actually forgot about Thanksgiving a second ago, so I guess my original thing really won't work real well because I'd made a pun about this being my 4th favorite holiday and it being May the 4th. However, we'll be spending part of the last part of the show actually talking about Star Wars related stuff because, you know, May the 4th is a great day to let your inner nerd out. Unfortunately, we do have some serious type stuffs we have to talk about first. Again, as a reminder, and we are starting to get some feedback, both myself and Grouchy, we will be at the Southern Republican Leadership Conference, May 21st through the 23rd. I will be there for the 21st and 22nd. He will be there for the entirety, which I do believe ends at around noon on that Saturday. Now, the reason we keep mentioning this is the first time we've gotten involved in anything like this, and we want to make it as interactive for you as possible. So we will have live broadcasts. We will have interviews whenever possible, even if we have to pre-record them and play them later. But one of the things we want to do in the event that we get to talk to some of these very important people that are going to be there, we want some questions from you, our listeners. So feel free to hit me up on Twitter. You can hit me up on Facebook. You can send me an email. Just hit us up. Let us know what it is that you want to ask these Republican frontrunners, as more and more of them that have already said they were going to be there seem to be declaring. Now would be the time to get your questions in there, get some things answered, and let's see if we can actually start rooting out who's going to be the most conservative person possible who can win. Because I don't know about you, but I'm tired of floating all these moderates that lose every single time. I understand moderation is a good thing, but, you know, when things have taken the hard left turn they've taken, it's time to go right for a little while. So, maybe in this instance, a moderate's not going to do the trick. Now, that being said, of course, there's this big breaking news story from last night. I have to say a few things about that, and then I'm going to go ahead and roll some clips just to make sure that we do our due diligence here at K98 Talk. I do have some stuff I want to point out. Now, I do have to say something, and this is just me being completely honest. Anyone has the First Amendment right to basically say and do pretty much anything that they want to do as long as they're not harming anyone else or themselves. So, for those folks in Garland, Texas that decided to have the Mohamed cartoon drawing contest, I can't say anything about the fact that you chose to do that. But my issue with it is, and this is one of the things that I've been saying over and over again, yes, I know Christians don't run around shooting people and trying to chop their heads off when people say bad things about Jesus. But we do get really angry when people do crazy things like put a cross in urine, or draw pictures of Jesus upside down on the cross, or any number of things that have happened in my lifetime. And we get cranky, and we scream, and we yell, and that's about as far as it goes. So here's just to play, I don't know, should I say devil's advocate or Mohammed's advocate? Let's go with devil's. Just to play devil's advocate, just for a second. Do you really think it was a good idea to do something that you know would honestly piss you off if somebody did it to Jesus as a Christian? Now, no. Does that mean we're going to go on a rampage and go start shooting people? No. But we do get angry when people disrespect Jesus. So I don't understand why we need to do the same to somebody else's person that they hold in high regard. That being said, First Amendment is First Amendment is First Amendment. Nobody had the right to go start shooting shit up. So, that's all I really want to say about that, is, you know, there's only so much we can do. when people decide to be crazy. But since that did go on for quite a while, we've got a couple of clips I want to play. We're going to start with the one that actually is kind of an unedited snippet of the audio that was taking place inside the building while all of this was occurring.
Police officers have been shot. 2 suspects have been shot. Possibly have explosives on them, okay? That's what we're worried about right now. We are going to move y'all into the auditorium here in just a minute. I just need everybody to remain calm, be kind of orderly, and we're going to take you into the auditorium a little further away from the front of this building, all right?
Were the suspects Muslim?
I have no idea right now. I don't know anything else other than that. I just want y'all to be aware that we're going to move y'all soon. I don't know what they have with them. We're being precautionary. I cannot turn y'all loose in the parking lot with all that going on.
There's somebody shot out there. There's possible explosives. You just heard that. So everybody's got to get heads up right now. No more fooling around. Just let's all stay here. Don't anybody go anywhere. We're going to get information as quickly as we can.
Alright, so what you heard there was about 52 seconds of the actual audio that was taking place inside of the building last night. Now again, I have to ask, and no, this doesn't mean that I think we should do anything to back off of these crazy people that want to run around and shooting folks, but was it really that important to try to get under somebody's skin? I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm as anti crazy Muslim as the next guy, but the simple fact of the matter is, we don't like it when people do the things to Jesus that we've been doing to Muhammad. To a point. Now, I will tell you that they kind of go crazy as soon as he's even depicted. So it's not like we're doing the crazy crap like gets done to Jesus, like throwing him in urine and this, that, and the other. Good Lord, could you imagine what would happen if somebody did that? I mean, you know, Christians, we wring our hands, we maybe even go old school Jewish, tear our clothes, start weeping, kneeling, and gnashing of teeth. I'm pretty sure, I would hate to think of what would happen if somebody decided to put old Muhammad in a jar of urine. But you know that's never going to happen. I'm honestly surprised this cartoon thing happened. Although it is in Texas, so maybe I'm not so surprised. Okay, got one other clip that's a bit of a montage of a few other things that were going. And this is from outside of the building, and then we will keep talking about that.
Okay, Ezra, after the gunfire went off, we were all herded into the Garland arena here, which has now been blacked out for some reason. But I'm safe, and I'll file some more reports as they come in. Thank you.
So the lights have come back on in the arena. People are mulling around, and evidently law enforcement's taking us out 48 at a time. As you can see, Ezra, it's a heavy armed response. We've got the SWAT team members here. How do you feel about what happened out there with the armed gunmen attacking this free speech conference?
Well, I didn't see or hear any of it myself, but after I reported in to my girlfriend what had happened, her sister wrote me back and texted me back and said that I owe her $100 because I bet my girlfriend $100 last week when she was trying to convince me not to come here because she was afraid there might be an incident.
Wow. Slowly, law enforcement are bringing people out of the Garland arena to I don't know where yet, and more to come as it develops.
Alright, so that's basically the end of the clips that I wanted to play about this. Now that I'm done playing devil's advocate, let me just tell you exactly how I feel about all of this. The simple fact of the matter is nobody deserved to be shot or shot at because of a cartoon drawing. So for all of you Muslims out there that are all, well, you know, it's against our religion for you to do what you do, and we're going to kill you for it, I have a problem with that. Because simply put, you can't, there can't just be one extreme for everything. You guys kill everybody. Oh, you commit adultery, we stone you. Oh, you draw a cartoon of Muhammad, we kill you. I mean, I'm really starting to feel like Ahmed the dead terrorist, and I just feel like shouting out, "Silence! I kill you!" Because you guys are just so wound up all the time over crap that doesn't even matter. I mean, come on. Not like a month ago, Adam, I think his last name is Saltini, the director of the Oklahoma chapter of CARE, was basically calling it a hate crime because somebody put bacon on his door. How is putting bacon on your door a hate crime? I mean, can I call it a hate crime because somebody decides to put a donut on my desk at work because they're picking on the fat kid? I mean, can I call it a hate crime when, because I personally love bacon, can I call it a hate crime if I go into a Muslim deli and they don't have bacon? Is that a hate crime? I mean, have we really gotten to the point where we are so thin-skinned that we get offended over every damn little thing possible? That's my question, because we used to have this thing called free speech. And I say used to because in theory and on paper we still do. Except political correctness has run amok, and everybody has gone a little crazy, and because of that, we now no longer have free speech. What we have instead is free speech until we piss somebody off. At that point, we're then held accountable for whatever we say, no matter how mundane or how stupid. Like the fact that somebody decided they wanted to draw a cartoon drawing of Muhammad. Now, again, I can tell you that just if it were me, I probably would not have done that. Now, does that mean that I think anyone else who wants to do it shouldn't have the right to do it? Hell no. If you want to draw a cartoon of Muhammad, be my guest. I mean, at this point, I have to tell you, free speech is free speech is free speech. So if you want to draw Jesus doing things that are stupid, I really can't say too much about that to you either. And I'm not going to be one of the ones that's screaming and yelling that I hope you burn in hell. However, I am again going to say that it just amazes me that we have, in this day and age, people that can go around and kill people for a drawing. Or attempt to kill people for a drawing. Now, the only upside to this, and then we'll be changing gears here in a minute because I have to take a break, and then we'll be finishing everything up. Because it's already after the top of the hour. It's what happens when you start late. Okay, so anyway, think about this for a second. What if this had happened anywhere else? I mean, luckily, and I do mean that exactly as I said it, luckily this happened in Texas. This meant that we went from the possibility of having however many people he had enough bullets to hit being wounded or worse. I think last count was maybe 2 people that were wounded. Just saying. There comes a time when you're going to have to realize that the gun control crap does not work. I kept hearing it said over and over again all this last week, and that was that the Maryland crap was a constant running ad for the NRA. Because it really was. Because if people were armed, this kind of stuff would not happen. And yes, I said stuff. And I said it that way on purpose. So, like it or lump it, I don't care. But the simple fact of the matter is, if this had happened pretty much anywhere else other than Texas and maybe Oklahoma, most likely there would have been an entirely different outcome. And it wouldn't be necessarily the potential terrorists that were dead, but possibly some onlookers that decided to go support this particular event. Now again, it's not something that I would do if given the opportunity, but hats off to those of you who decided to brave it and use your First Amendment rights to express something that you believed in. And I would say that, through clenched teeth of course, to the same guy that decided to put a cross and a crucifix in urine several years back. Because the simple fact of the matter is, it's your right to say things and do things that offend people, because it's our right to not pay attention when you do. That seems to be what we've lost track of. Now, if we're offended, by God, nobody gets to hear it because, well, it's not good enough because it offended me. I mean, think of all the comics that would not be allowed to do their routines today because of all the politically correct crap. I mean, think about if George Carlin were alive. Just let that sink in for a second. The kind of trouble he would be in all the time, because he's not going to follow the rules that are in place now. This whole, unspoken, common courtesy, political correct, silence is golden, don't say anything that won't hurt anybody unless, of course, you're whispering it. I mean, it's all a bunch of crap. That's all this is. The simple fact of the matter is, somebody decided they wanted their 15 minutes of fame last night, and they used the fact that they were Muslim and somebody was drawing cartoons of Muhammad as an excuse to go be a dumbass. Again, I'm just really grateful that it happened in Texas and not anywhere else. Alright, so at this point, we are coming up to the, we have surpassed the bottom of the hour, thanks to the fact that I got a late start. We're going to take a really quick break, and we will be right back here in just a couple minutes. And then we're going to change gears a little bit and talk some Star Wars, just because, I got to have a little bit of a break. I didn't get to do It's Clobbering Time with Dave this Sunday, because we've been doing that one every other Sunday, so I got to take a little bit of a break. Maybe talk some Star Wars, maybe a little bit of TV stuff that's going on, and then we will turn it over to Liz Harrison. Now, before I take the break, I do have to give you a little bit of an update. We have had a bit of a programming change here at K98 Talk, but it's only for the short term. Mr. Steve Long, host of Liberty Unfiltered, is taking a little bit of a break while he gets used to his new day job, because now he's got a job where he's physically active all the time, and it's kicking his butt. Now, that being said, he's still not leaving the radio. He's gone back over to K98X, our sister station that plays alternative music. He'll be spinning some tunes for you tonight from 7 to 8, just in case you've already heard the Liz Harrison Show. You can always go over to the Spreaker page there and go check that out. Again, just search Spreaker K98X. Dave, my former co-host at Finding Common Ground, who still sits in once in a while, and the host of Around the Ring, actually also put together a show that he did over there today. It seems to be about summertime is when those guys get really fired up about music. So now that we're getting pretty close, you'll probably get to hear some more of that over on our sister station. And probably, I know I keep saying this, but within the next couple of weeks, I'm going to sit down and get Grace started. Because I keep saying I'm going to do it, and I haven't done it yet. But it will probably be after the conference, because I'm hoping things settle down for at least a few days after that. But from what I've heard, a lot of times once you start getting involved in these type of conferences, things just kind of explode before you know what happens. So keeping my fingers crossed for that too. But again, as a reminder, we will be there. Hit me up at email, ricky@thesparkradionetwork.com, Twitter, _r_OKC, or www.facebook.com/Rowdy Ricky Robinson. Hit me up with your questions. Send them over to Grouchy. Don't really care who gets them. We just want to make sure we've got them. So, because we want to make this as interactive for you guys as possible. That being said, it is time to take a break. We'll be back here in just a couple minutes with the rest of the show. Maybe. And it helps if you hit the right button, folks. We'll be right back.
A show that will change internet radio as you know it.
Okay, so let's talk about the story, which I think is hilarious. I'm just going to refer to it as the poop plane, because, like, what else are you going to call it? But there was this plane, okay? It took off. It's the British Airways. They were going to Dubai. I have a hard time pronouncing that one.
It was British Airways? It wasn't Jet. It wasn't Jet Poo?
It wasn't.
Couldn't resist. I'm sorry.
I like it. This story, if we've ever had a story that is up our alley, it's this one. It's bathroom humor up from front to back of the airplane, apparently. They had to turn around to go back to Heathrow because they said the smelly poo in the toilet became unbearable for passengers, and it was so bad they decided it's so bad that they had to turn around and go back rather than continue their flight. They decided that there wasn't enough Febreze, there wasn't enough anything to handle this.
Maybe they should see a doctor. Is there a GoFundMe for this guy?
It must be a woman, because a woman's going to be mortified and embarrassed. If this is a guy, you know that he's like out there on Twitter and everything else saying, dude, I took down an airplane with how bad that I laid it down.
There was an old woman who flew on jet poo. She ate so many burritos she didn't know what to do.
So we turned the plane around because they made a big stink. We've just made it into a haiku at the end, but there had to be something.
Real Serious Nonsense, Mondays, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, now on K98 Talk.
Are you conservative in a world of liberal?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're not alone. Hey, I'm Daniel Stafford, host of the Stafford Voice, and I'd like to invite you to tune in each Monday, 10 p.m. Eastern, where I'll break down the events of the week, and together we'll learn about how they affect you. So, sit back and get ready for the good, the bad, and the ugly of talk radio right here on K98 Talk.
K98Talk.com, a leader in Internet radio. So grab your seatbelts and take the ride of your life on K98Talk.com.
We will never fully understand what we've asked of our military service members or their families, asking them to put themselves in harm's way, to endure it all. But we do understand that it's our turn, our duty, to keep them secure for the rest of their lives. Wounded Warrior Project long-term support programs help our most severely ill or injured veterans live independently, at no cost, for life, so that they might stand at ease. Join us at findwwp.org.
For our own cause, we got a pen and telephone to bypass all your laws. Political correctness will replace the Bill of Rights. Support religious freedom, lest you pray to Jesus Christ. The press is in our pockets cause there's no longer free. You cannot make a move now that the NSA can see. Don't expect equality, respect for fair play. The IRS will target those who vote the wrong way. Welcome to the place. Welcome to the place.
Alright, folks, we're back. We're live. We are down to about 19 minutes. We're going to go ahead and shut things down pretty close to 7 o'clock, even though I did get a late start. But, you know, it's just, you know, it's May the 4th. You know, we have to talk Star Wars. I've got something. We're going to go ahead and play this real quick, and then we'll get down into the nitty-gritty. Because, like I said, we're going to spend at least the last few minutes of this show having a little bit of fun. Because I'm always so serious on this show. And I'm just not really feeling it today. Alright, so yeah, it is May the 4th, the unofficial holiday where we celebrate Star Wars, and I have to say, Star Wars has always been kind of a big deal to me. I am one of the odd folks who is both a fan of Star Trek and Star Wars, and both probably equally from one another. I enjoy them both for different reasons. I enjoy reading the books from both. I have to admit I'm a little pissed off that Disney decided the expanded universe is not going to be part of the cinematic universe for episodes 7, 8, and 9. But, you know, it's theirs now. Now, I have to tell you, one of my biggest fears is that J.J. Abrams is going to make this too much like the 2009 Trek reboot. Because, again, I'm a fan. I liked it. It was enjoyable. I liked the way they brought the storyline around because it kind of made sense. You know, they got in so much trouble with Enterprise. they had to come up with a way to be able to completely start over without people jumping all over them. So I like the overall concept of the separate timeline. I think it's interesting. I think it was entertaining. What I don't like is constant lens flare and phaser fire, which were the hallmarks of the last two Star Trek reboots. And if it becomes an issue in Star Wars, I might be a little cranky, because Star Wars, yes, the action scenes are important. Now, granted, in the first three movies, they didn't pay quite as much to the 4, 5, and 6, the actual first three movies, not 1, 2, and 3. They didn't pay quite so much attention to the action sequences because the technology wasn't available to make them stand out the way they can make them today. So there was a lot more story stuff there. And that's what worries me about J.J. Abrams getting a hold of Star Wars. It's like he's forgotten how to be a storyteller. He's a shoot 'em up, bang bang kind of guy. And I don't understand that, because J.J. Abrams has told some of the best stories on TV. Now, granted, I'm not sure he was the writer, but, I could be wrong. I mean, come on. Alias was a great, great show. It was an awesome show. I was sad when it went away. There's been a few other ones that they've done that I was like, oh my god, I can't believe they're killing them. Bad Robot's worst year ever was 2014. Now in 2015, he's managed to sign Star Wars, and that's going to be launching soon, Christmas time. Now, I have to say, one of the things that disappoints me about the May the 4th thing is, the original debut of Star Wars was May 25th, 1976. May 25th is my birthday. Shouldn't Star Wars Day be the day that the original movie aired? I mean, come on, how cool would it be to have your birthday on Star Wars Day? Especially when you're as big of a nerd as I am. I mean, yes, I am a political nerd. I watch way too much CNN, Fox News, even, yes, occasionally MSNBC. I've even, there's a couple of new ones now that we have Uverse that I don't ever remember the name of, but I definitely go check them out. Also, like the BBC America News, it's a bit of a different perspective, and it's definitely not as sugar-coated as the stuff that we get here. But I'm also a sci-fi junkie. I always have been. I've really, really always enjoyed Star Trek. Some of my earliest, best memories of times with my dad were sitting on his lap watching Star Wars, or Star Trek. I keep saying Star Wars today. See, it's May the 4th. What can I say? And some of my other better memories are when I was a little kid, going to see things like Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back with my friends. And then Return of the Jedi, which I think I saw at least 9 times in the movie theater. Not even playing. Dude, watching Luke Skywalker finally get to use the Force was amazing. You waited for it all this time. And granted, it'll be more fun to see it now. So I'm actually looking forward to Mark Hamill returning to the screen as Skywalker, because he's done some amazing work, even though he's kind of had a low profile as far as anybody else is concerned. I mean, he's done the Joker in the animated series. He's done the Trickster for the Flash reboot they had in the 90s. He's now reprised that role in a recent episode of The Flash. Speaking of which, just because it's part of the nerd thing, if you're not watching The Flash, something is seriously wrong with you. That has got to be one of the best shows on TV right now. And I don't say that very lightly. There were several shows that were canceled last year that I was mad as hell that they took them off. And now that I see all the great shows that have come on, I'm like, well, no wonder they took them off. They wouldn't have survived anyway. One of the ones I really hated to see go, but a lot of the folks that I have that I used to like to watch on them, or that one particularly, have now done roles elsewhere, is Tomorrow People. To me, the whole concept of that show was pretty cool. That was, kind of loosely based on the movie Jumper, and it was a TV series. I think there may have been a book involved in it somewhere. I'm going to have to look, because if there was a book about it, I'm definitely going to have to pick that up just to see how much different than the series it was. But it was a pretty decent show, and it actually had gotten to the point where things were kind of going to take off in a different direction for the second season, and then they decided they were going to axe it. Another one I'm mad about being on is Revolution. Another really good show that NBC managed to fuck up. Because they didn't know how to work it when it was going to be on its hiatuses. They kept moving it around, kept changing the time that it was on, and never bothered to tell anybody when it was going to come back. And we were left with this crappy cliffhanger ending, and it just makes me want to punch someone in the face. Again, unless I'm mistaken, I think, I know Eric Kripke was involved in that. I'm not quite so sure about J.J. Abrams, so I'll have to go back and look. But yet another reason why, again, I'm a little concerned about J.J. Abrams. Now, I have to admit, there have been some folks, because Bryce and I talked about this on Finding Common Ground a couple of weeks ago. His girlfriend is a big-time Star Trek nut. He's more Star Wars, she's more Star Trek. But since Abrams directed the last 2 Star Trek films, which she really, really liked, and is now directing Star Wars, she's thinking about giving it a bit of a shot. So, maybe it'll draw in some folks that didn't watch the original stuff or didn't like it very much. But, I'm a big action sequence guy as much as the next guy. Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan is still probably my all-time favorite movie as far as the Trek films go. Original series, anyway. But, it's just one of those things where, too much action is a bad thing. There still has to be a plot. There still has to be dialogue. That's one of the things that I kind of really miss about the newer movies. You don't have the relationship building between the new crews, or the new crew from the 2009 Ford that you really had from the old crew. And maybe it has a lot to do with watching them for so many hours on the little screen before they hit the big screen. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being sentimental, but I really, really hope that J.J. Abrams does not fuck up Star Wars. Because if he fucks up Star Wars, I'm going to be mad. Star Wars is great. It is this awesome getaway, especially when, like I said, most of my life is spent being really serious. I'm a father of 4 children, most of which are adults now. Actually 6, if you count the ones that I claim that don't necessarily belong to me, but I claim them anyway. Most of them are adults now. So life has been hard the last few years, transitioning from being full-time dad to now there's, a couple of them still at home while we deal with getting one of them graduated here in a couple of weeks. And then we have the last one left of the brood that hasn't graduated yet, who's about to be a freshman. Yes, I'm old, I understand this. But that's why I enjoy things like Star Wars and Star Trek, because they're an escape. For 5 seconds, I'm back to being a kid again, and I can imagine that I'm part of the crew of the USS Enterprise, which, yes, at that age and at that time was one of the reasons why I actually liked the Wesley character, because I was the same age as Wesley Crusher. So the fact that there was a kid on the bridge in that movie in that show made my day, because it was like, oh, if only that were possible for me. And yes, I'm a conservative, but I would give up everything to live in a universe where I could basically just go wherever I wanted to go and see what's actually out there. Because, I'm a Christian, I'm not going to lie, but I still think it's really, really arrogant for us as human beings to think that we were the only things created by God. I mean, look at the diversity on our own planet. Why would there not be diversity universe-wide? Does that mean that I'm not as Christian as the next guy? I don't know what to tell you. I just have a hard time understanding or grasping the concept that all of the cosmos was designed for one specific group of people and there's nobody else out there. That would make more sense if we were the only things on our planet. But we're not. There's so many things that we haven't even discovered yet. Heck, I just saw a news story the other day about a frog they just found that looks almost exactly like Kermit the Frog for real. Except the only difference is he's like translucent, so you can see his organs. But he's got the face. The face is green. The nose and the mouth are shaped about the right way, and the eyes are like completely huge. So he actually kind of looks like, if not Kermit the Frog, the baby one. I can't think of his son or nephews or whatever his name right now. But, there was that little one that came along, Tad or something. Kind of what he looked like to me. But yeah, so my biggest concerns for Star Wars really have to be, J.J. Abrams going all shoot 'em up direction with the last few things I've seen him direct. And I hope that is not the case with Star Wars. But I have to tell you, if you haven't seen it yet, that newest trailer is awesome. You really need to go look at it several times. Drool over it, enjoy it, let it soak in, because it's awesome. And it's now May. So we are about 7 months away from the premiere. 7 longest months of my life. But we'll get there. And we'll get there together. Now, I'm not going to give anybody any spoilers because I haven't seen it yet. But the last thing I want to talk about is the fact that I'm really excited about the new Avengers movie that has come out this last week. I will be going to see it with my boys, my actual sons, and maybe even one of my daughters on this coming Sunday. So nobody spoil it for me on Twitter or Facebook, please. Although I will be watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. tomorrow, so I'm sure there will be a little spoilage there. But I can't wait the week to watch, because that's another one of the shows that, yes, I know, I'm a nerd. Stop looking at me like that. I'm allowed to be a nerd. It's okay. I never said I wasn't a nerd. Why the heck else would I have started a talk show that I built into a network that's now part of a radio station? That's something a nerd would do. I mean, come on. Okay, so at this point, we are about out of time. I'm going to go ahead and start winding things down. Again, just to kind of recap, if you missed it, you can catch the replay of it later this evening, because as soon as the Real Serious Nonsense show ends, this show will replay again. And then we'll go into Open Eyes with Ira with Late Night in the Midlands, which is when we kind of turn over the nighttime to the less serious side of talk radio and let some folks give you some stuff that you may not hear anywhere else. I mean, let's face it, political talk is all over the place now. So we don't want to do that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Not only that, but if I was doing it that often, my head would explode. So, again, here in just a couple seconds, you will hear the Liz Harrison show kick back off again that was just on at 5. We'll let that run until 8 when the Real Serious Nonsense crew comes on. Paul has the night off, so I will be producing things behind the scenes here, hanging out in the chat with you guys. But I'm going to take a really quick break, grab some dinner so I can come back in and do that. And then, again, right after Real Serious Nonsense, you'll hear Daniel Stafford. Then once that show is done, you will hear my show again in its entirety. In case you've missed it or you're just catching the tail end of it, you can always tune back in after Daniel's show is over and catch the end of it. Also, or catch it in its entirety. Do also want to mention that I am returning to Wednesday nights starting this week. So Wednesday nights, the Wednesday nights that rock on K98 Talk, as Grouchy likes to put it. One of these days I will get him to put that together as a promo. Will now be me, Rick Robinson, from 6 to 7. The Grouch from 7 to 8. The Bunny from 8 to 9. And Da Wilkins from 9 to 10. So you get Double R, Da Grouch, Da Bunny, Da Wilkins, all back to back to back to back to back. Three of the 4 of those are some of the best hours on talk radio. I'm not good. I mean, it's how I roll. Self-deprecation is my shtick. All right, folks, that's going to do it for us tonight. We're going to go ahead and shut things down, get things ready for Liz to take over the chair again, and then I'll be back producing the Real Serious Nonsense crew here in just a little bitty bit. You guys have a great night. It's been my pleasure. Hopefully we'll get things started closer to on time tomorrow night. And again, in case you've already heard Liz and you want to check out something a little different, you can always search K98X on Spreaker. Listen to Steve Long, host of Liberty Unfiltered, as he brings back his music show Off the Record, which is typically all local alternative bands here in the state of Oklahoma. So feel free to go check that out if you don't want to listen to Liz again. We'll be back with you guys tomorrow night. You take care.
For our own cause, we got a pen and telephone to bypass all your laws. Political correctness will replace the Bill of Rights. Support religious freedom, lest you pray to Jesus Christ. The press is in our pockets cause there's no one free. You cannot make a move, no, as they can see. Don't expect equality, respect, or fair play. The IRS will target those who vote the wrong way. Welcome to the place. Welcome to the place.
Screw you guys. I'm going home. Later.
Game over, man.